Geometers, we are here. This is what we have been looking forward to when we've been going through our little videos here about slope, or writing an equation slope-intercept form, or writing an equation of a line in point slope form, is problems like this that we do in geometry, but we need to use those algebra skills about writing equations of lines. So here's the first thing you need to know. Recall that parallel lines have the same slope. Which makes sense because the slope is like the steepness. If I have this line and I want to find another parallel to it, it's going to be the same degree of steepness, so to speak. All right, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. Okay, that means, let's say you have a slope like 2/3. An opposite reciprocal of that would be the opposite sign, negative instead of positive, and flip it over. That's what reciprocal means. Let's say you have a slope of -7. The opposite reciprocal of that, if you over 7, remember 7 is over 1. Anything that's not in a fraction, it's like it's over 1. So if I flip that over, I get 1/7. Since this was negative and this is positive, we're good. They're opposites as well. These are opposites and reciprocals. Okay, another way of checking if two numbers are opposite reciprocals is if you multiply them together, you should get -1 as your answer. All right, so when they ask me to write an equation of a line and they say it's parallel to, or it is perpendicular to, this is just a fancy way of telling me something about the slope. That's what they're trying to do, is give me information about the slope of my line. So it's parallel to this line means it has the same slope. But if I look at this equation right now, I can't see the slope because it's in standard form. I have to put it in slope-intercept form. If I put it in slope-intercept form, I can see the slope very easily. So let's do that. Okay, slope-intercept form, I'm going to solve it for y. So that means I get everything else away from y. If you need more help with this, there's a video that shows you how that I made about 15 minutes ago. So go looking for that. And this is the equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, so what I just learned is that the slope of that line is -2/5. So when they say the equation of my line that I'm writing the equation of is parallel to this line, it's just a fancy way of telling me that my line has a slope of -2/5. Parallel lines have the same slope. That's the only thing I need from this line. Okay, when they're telling me it's parallel to this line or it's perpendicular to this line, that's the only thing I care about from that line is its slope. I don't care about anything else about that line. I don't care about the 2 or the 15. I don't care about this 3. I'm definitely not going to borrow the 3 because my line is parallel to this line. It shouldn't have the exact same y-intercept because then it would be on top of that line. So the 3 means nothing to me. I only want this information from the line that they tell me my line is parallel to. Now, the other thing I know about my line is it passes through the point -10, 1. So this is the other thing I care about for my line. From here forward, I don't care about anything else but finding the equation of a line that has this slope and goes through this point. We could do that in slope-intercept form. We could do that in point slope form. I think I'm going to use slope-intercept form. Here's slope-intercept form. I'm going to fill in the x and y that I have temporarily to help me find b, and I'm going to fill in the m that I have. So my y value that I'm going to use to help me find b is 1. My m is -2/5. My x is -10 plus b. -2/5 times -10 is +4. The reason we filled in this point was to help us find B, because then everything was filled in except B. But we only filled it in for that purpose. We're not going to write an equation that has that one point plugged in, because then it would be the equation of one point, not the equation of the entire line. The things I need to write my equation in slope-intercept form, really, or in, yeah, specifically in slope-intercept form, are the slope and the y-intercept. So I'm going to take y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to put those two things in, and then I'll have my equation of my line. So my line's equation is y equals negative 2/5 x minus 3. Okay, it's a coincidence that these two numbers are opposite. It could have been an 8 here, and I'd still get negative 3. Okay, so don't think that there's any connection there. Let's do another one that's similar to that. This one says, write the equation of the line perpendicular to. Okay, so again, perpendicular to is just telling me something about the slope of my line. So if it's perpendicular to this line, I need to find the slope of this line, and then I'll be able to find the slope of my line. So putting this one in slope-intercept form is the first thing I want to do, because I want to know what its slope is, and it's not easy to tell unless you have it in slope-intercept form. Okay, this negative x is like a negative 1x. Okay, so it's like negative 1 over negative 4, which is positive 1/4. So there's my equation, same line, just written in slope-intercept form. The whole reason I needed to do that was to find this slope. This is the only part of this line that I care about. I do not care about that negative 5 at all. They told me my line was perpendicular to this one as just a fancy way of telling me the slope of my line. So if my line is perpendicular to this one, it means it's not going to have the same slope. It's going to have the opposite reciprocal slope. So my line is going to have a slope of negative 4 over 1, or just negative 4. I flip it over. That's what reciprocal means. Opposite means change the sign. And then my line also passes through the point 2, negative 5. As soon as I said my line has a slope of negative 4, I completely stopped caring about this other line at all. That's the only thing I need from this other line is the slope. Okay, now I don't care about it at all. I'm focused on finding the equation of a line with this slope that goes through this point. Let's do it in point slope form this time. Here is point slope form. Point slope form is an easy place to plug in the point and the slope, a point and the slope, because that's how it's made. It's made for a point x1, y1, and the slope. So I get to just plug those in. So my y1 is negative 5. My m is negative 4. My x1 is 2. So I'm going to simplify that, write it a little bit nicer. And there is the equation of my line in point slope form. Okay, that's what this is. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Had a moment of confusion if I was saying the right thing. That one's in point slope form. And if you were asked for the equation in slope-intercept form, it would be easy enough to get this one that way. I'm going to distribute the negative 4 so that I don't have the parentheses, and I'm going to move the 5. So let's do that. First, let's distribute the negative 4. Then let's move the 5. And now we have an equation of the line, same line, but this one is in slope-intercept form. I hope this has helped you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.